Once again, it's that time of year to celebrate the best releases across the metal spectrum. Today, we look at the top 7 death metal albums of 2023. Some of the biggest names in death metal returned in 2023, many of them falling short of expectations. The likes of Autopsy, Cannibal Corpse, Incantation, and Suffocation released underwhelming records. There's a feeling of malaise in this genre with too many indistinguishable bands chasing the same jaded audience. The chasm between those artists that wish they were jazz fusion musicians and those that want to recreate the Florida of 1989 is hardly noticeable. Maybe there is no fracture here. The stakes are low. Another record with monosyllabic vocals and no sense of song structure is the last thing you want in your inbox when you're losing interest in a genre of music that used to be dynamic and innovative. As with any scene, you need to look harder for the art of supreme substance, but those albums that stand out are as good as anything in heavy guitar music. We seem to treat each Cattle Decapitation album as a potential saviour of the genre, and the group did not disappoint with their latest effort. Likewise, stalwarts such as Cataclysm and Dying Fetus show that death metal can still be enjoyable in moderate doses. And of course, we always have Obituary to remind us of death metal's golden era. This is the last year in which Scream Blast Repeat will focus their attention on traditional death metal and the abundance of bolt thrower clones out there. Instead, we will look towards the more progressive and avant-garde forms of death metal in 2024 and beyond. As the last of its kind in this annual series, this is our list for the best death metal albums of 2023. At number 7, we have Make Them Beg for Death by Baltimore heavyweights Dying Fetus. They released it on the 8th of September via Relapse Records. Dying Fetus started on a diet of suffocation and deicide, but they outgrew these origins long ago and now have a distinctive guitar sound and receive recognition for being one of the tightest rhythmic units in the scene. Give it a couple of spins and you'll hear the influence of Sepultura's Chaos AD in the guitar rhythms, especially the weight of the chunky grooves. Your instinct is to stand tall and stick out your chest in response to the muscular carvings. Lubricated voices rasp like chemical-scarred survivors of an apocalypse. Double kick drums thunder in the background with little or no fuss. Verdict? 8 out of 10. At number 6, we have the most progressive and experimental record on this list. We're talking about Ontological Mysterium by Horrendous. They released it on the 18th of August via Season of Mist. You can sense from the first notes that Horrendous have rediscovered their zest. The ringing power chords of opening track The Blaze strike thunder in the heart like the bombast of an Accept concert. Yet underneath the froth of electricity is a subtle shoegaze combination of luscious guitar shapes. The band's trademark gut-spewing vocals are so out of place and yet so in the moment. Harmonized guitars weep in the climax like whistling dolphin echoes rippling through the river basins. Nothing is beyond their experimental instincts, yet the music still pulsates like a canonical death metal album from the late 1980s. Verdict? 8 out of 10. At number 5, we have Brazilian vixens Crypta with Shades of Sorrow. They released it on the 4th of August via Napalm Records. The songs centered around a standard verse-bridge chorus structure seldom feel predictable on this LP. You'll find it hard to identify the reoccurring sections unless you follow the lyric booklet. Then things start to take shape, like they do when you give your And Justice for All vinyl a spin after many years of inactivity. Like all good metal bands, Crypta know that an over-reliance on fast tempos can mask songwriting weaknesses. This LP ought to be a bloated and repetitive affair, yet it sounds fresh and enlivening. That's because it's straight from the heart and a product of the head. Verdict? 8 out of 10. At number 4, we have Last Day of Sun by Fuming Mouth. They released it on the 3rd of November via Nuclear Blast. Fuming Mouth have the stage they deserve to tell their tale of survival. Last Day of Sun is a journey through pain, anguish, and misanthropy, festooned with quiet moments of triumph and relief. We can assume that questions of mortality plagued Mark Whelan over these last 2 years. His fortitude is admirable. Unlike their American contemporaries, Fuming Mouth lean more towards the aesthetics of Triptychon than the legacy of the Floridian greats. Verdict? 8 out of 10. Coming in at number 3, we have Descent by Swedish death metal unit Orbit Culture. They released it on the 18th of August via Seek and Strike. Like any great album, Descent understands that no two songs should be the same, yet none should deviate too far away from the core aesthetic. Vultures of North takes the drop tune grooves into classic Metallica territory, but laces them with the drum triggers of Fear Factory. The vocal lines are as percussive as the snare hits. A chorus chant barks at you like a military instruction from a German SS commander from hell. The fact that Orbit Culture can envisage a heavy metal Thunderdome where Metallica, Gojira, and Fear Factory coexist like a triumvirate of judges opening a Bloodsport event is testament to their confidence. Verdict? 9 out of 10. At number 2 is Terrasite by US giants Cattle Decapitation. They released it on the 12th of May via Metal Blade Records. Fans of the band's earlier death grind records will wonder what happened to the grindcore element of Cattle Decapitation, but it's hard to deny that the black metal transgressions in their place are even better. The guitar work on this album is sensational. How easy would it be to push Travis Ryan's vocals to the front of the mix and hide behind their charismatic presence? Not here. Josh Elmore and Belisario Demuzio realize that creating memorable riffs is a tasteful process that involves ritual repetition. All members choose to avoid the dizzying maze of modern tech death in favor of clear song structures. We waited to see if the San Diego Quartet could produce their 4th classic in a row, and they do not disappoint. Verdict? 9 out of 10. Which brings us to number 1. Drum roll, please. At number 1, we have Blindfolded and Led to the Woods with Rejecting Obliteration. They released it on the 19th of May via Prosthetic Records. Blindfolded and Led to the Woods could have made Nightmare Withdrawals Part 2 to capitalise on the critical success of their last LP, but Stuart Henley Minchington decided that 45 minutes of atonal tech death would be too obvious. Instead, the band charts new territory with a firm emphasis on luscious melodies to balance the hiss of the dissonant guitars and blood-crazed vocals. Sometimes they use their reserves of energy in one devastating assault. Other times, they roast you and then allow you to recuperate with ice-cold coconut water. Blindfolded and Led to the Woods are a reminder that death metal has years of innovation ahead. Verdict? 9 out of 10. Congratulations to Blindfolded and Led to the Woods for landing the number 1 spot. Let's also recognise the 5 honourable mentions that nearly made this list. Insatiable Thirst for Torment by English quartet Celestial Sanctuary. The Orb by French tech death progressives Gorod. Goliath by Cataclysm. Rise to Power by Memoriam. And Obituaries Dying of Everything. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, and more importantly, please visit our website at www.screenblastrepeat.com for the latest album and EP reviews from established, up-and-coming, and unsigned artists in the worlds of extreme metal, prog, and dark alternative.